So yeah, I already filmed this video once and it was a complete disaster. So part two. This is basically, obviously you can see from the title, just the kind of first impressions of Oud Seven from Matiere. I've had it on a couple of days now, so it's not quite a first impressions. To kind of go through the opening a bit with you. To me, I'm not going to go through all the notes because I don't really smell all the notes per se. It does open sweet, with like a sweet citrus. Now there's no citruses listed. Mixing with, I kind of noticed the oud most then. And the cypriol and the vetiver. Just give it this kind of green, sweet brightness. Not quite bright, but citrus gives it that kind of magic. That citrus gives it a lift. But there's no citrus listed. And don't forget it's only 7 notes, so I don't know what I'm smelling if I'm honest. But as it starts to develop, I think you get quite a bit of the vetiver does get much more. The labdamen, the sort of deeper notes do start to come through. Now the oud doesn't fade away, but it moves back. It's kind of there, and it's kind of there as a kind of smooth woodiness. And that's kind of the first kind of 10 minutes or so. So that's the opening. As you get more into the sort of mids, after that mark, and it stays pretty much the same for about an hour, it does start to get woodier. Again, possibly the vetiver, and this kind of more resinous feel. That's how I'm going to describe it. I'm probably smelling this all completely wrong, but it does maintain the greenness, but it's like a green woodiness. Is it like a forest? Not really. If you imagine a forest that had just all the trees have been cut down and maybe slightly burnt, it's got that kind of feel to it. You know, where you're smelling the kind of hot, sticky kind of wood with the greenness, maybe the leftover foliage, the leaves, etc. It's that kind of thing. But don't get me wrong, it's not green. It's a kind of green resinousness. And then, kind of, what it reminds me most of, does not smell like these, by the way, because of the greenness and everything. It's kind of different, but similar. Yeah, this isn't going to be a disaster, but yeah, people walking around, weirdo talking to his phone. So yeah, I'm back anyway. What it reminds me of is a little bit of Givenchy Gentleman EDP, without the iris, without the smoothness, nothing like that in that sense. And Pulse of the Night from Issey Miyake, which, if you've smelled both of them, you'll kind of understand the common theme is this kind of warm, sweet, woody resinousness. Like, I want to say like there's frankincense in it, but there's no frankincense in this, but it has that sweet, you know, just as like a dark frankincense, like a honeyed woody frankincense. And maybe the patchouli in it gives it a little bit of a chocolatey vibe, which kind of adds to this kind of, if you like, smooth woods thing. And obviously the oud as well gives more of that kind of rich woody feel to it. So yeah, I've not been very good at describing this because it's really difficult, because it smells like things that I've smelled before, but obviously the note breakdown, and when I'm saying it smells like things, it reminds me of them. It doesn't smell the same, but it obviously takes your nose to that, doesn't it? So as it kind of goes past the hour mark, it's the 2 hour mark, and that again, it doesn't change massively. But what I get is and I'm sniffing it now, is kind of the oud does move up a little bit, so you can smell it. Now, I don't know a lot about different types of oud and such like, but obviously there are a lot of them. And now this is a woody kind of oud, and it does have the tiniest bit of sharpness. There's nothing particularly strong about, you know, overpowering, or there's nothing, as people, why would it be fecal? But you know, people say all oud, it's not all fecal. There's nothing like that. It's kind of more of this slightly sharp, oudy, mainly woodiness. And again, you get a bit more of that kind of leathery feel in it, which I'm presuming are some of the other kind of, the labdanum maybe that's listed. But it stays very smooth and it's very lovely. And there is, I think I watched Claire Smurfy Girlie's review, and she mentioned a smokiness. There is. It's not a sharp smokiness. It's not a smoky smokiness, and it's not an incense smokiness. But there is this kind of, I think, like I said before, like with the burnt kind of forest kind of imagery. Probably the vetiver has a little tiny tint of the smokiness, and it all kind of stays very smooth and very kind of calm till the end. It's a beautiful fragrance, and as you know, I like the fragrances I've compared it to quite an awful lot. So yeah, it's brilliant. So anyway, that's kind of the mids. Now the far dry down, it hasn't changed much from the way I described it. Probably smells just a bit lighter, in the sense, not lighter like it's gone away off your skin, because it does last a long time. It even bounces off your skin a good few hours. But what I'd say is it kind of lightens up, mellows up, you know, it gets lighter in colour, and that's probably again from the woods and the oud. Again, I think the oud isn't, don't get me wrong, you have to sniff it to smell the oud, but the oud kind of makes it up. And the best way of me describing this is I'm throwing notes out here and there, and maybe why again I find it so difficult to pick anything out is it is very well blended. It's not to say obviously I've got like a sniffer dog's nose and I can pick out a million things, because I can't, but it is quite difficult to pick out anything in particular. Only because the certain notes are recognised the most am I able to pick them out. So enough of this waffle, and believe me, this is better than the other video I shot. And it's just a first impressions. This is going to probably be one that takes me a long time to really get to grips to it. So in conclusion, I think it's beautiful. I really like it. It's warm, and it's not too heavy off me. It, don't get me wrong, it does kind of beam off your skin and you do get a cloud around you. It's quite strong, but it's not overpowering. It's not overly in your face or too much. But I mean, again, I'm not a heavy sprayer, so 2 sprays has been more than enough to kind of surround me and envelop me with it, and it's very enjoyable. I'd say it's more for a kind of cooler weather, like a night like this where it's quite cool and brisk, and it's keeps you warm, and it's quite a classy fragrance as well, actually. Like the other 2 mentioned, kind of serves the same purpose as them, but obviously, like I keep saying, it is not the same. It's just they're the nearest things I can kind of compare it to. Anyway, this was a very waffly video, and you can tell I've really struggled with it. Not because it's overly complex, and it's definitely not a simple fragrance, but just because it's such a blend, a smooth blend of a fragrance. It's very, people would describe it as very French in style, in the sense that it's not shouty, it's not loud, it's very sophisticated and smooth, and everything is kind of balanced perfectly, and elegantly. So that's how I describe it. So yeah, not sure this video will be used to anyone really, but look out for my proper review when it comes. Alright, thanks folks. Have you tried this one? Have you got a favourite from Matiere? I mean, I like Oud Seven. To me, quite a fresh, airy incense that kind of suits all year round. And Radical Rose, which is just off my skin, quite a dark, beautiful, sophisticated rose. Right, thanks folks, bye.